Hey VC, Jack here. Welcome to Vinyl Martini. Like the rest of you, I have been hunkering down watching Vinyl Tag 24 videos. The great questions supplied by Rob Walker. I haven't watched them all yet, but I'm getting to them. So if I'm a regular commentator on your channel, I am going to get to them soon. On that note, I just want to thank everybody who gave me a shout out. And one of the questions, give a shout out to a VC channel that you watched this year. I was amazed. Rob gave me a shout out right off the top in his video, and there's about 6 or 7 channels that also were kind enough to give me a shout out. So thank you so much. It's really helped my channel. My numbers are slowly shooting up. So thanks again, everybody. Today I am going to do part 3 of my I bought a record collection. I bought a record collection about a month and a half ago, about 500 records, and they worked out to about 60 cents a piece. I've shown a few of them. I've shown probably about 100 and maybe 110 records. I've got a whole milk crate full of records that I'm going to show you. So let's get on so this video doesn't go on forever. Right off the bat, we have Three Dog Night. This is Around the World with Three Dog Night. It's a double set. Kind of funny, I am not a Three Dog Night fan, but this is one of my wife's favorite bands that I featured in my video for Mike and Patty's contest a year ago. So Three Dog Night, I'm gonna probably keep this one for my wife. Speaking of Three Dog Night, I've got 2 copies of their album, Hard Labor. Sorry, let's show the front and show the back. This is towards the end of their career. I think the band was largely breaking up. Believe it or not, I think Three Dog Night was the biggest selling artist in the United States for about 3 years in the early 70s. So Three Dog Night, yeah, Hard Labor. All these records are in pretty good condition, by the way. A little bit of Canadiana for you, a band called Painter. I thought these guys were from Vancouver. I don't really remember them, but they did have a hit with a song called West Coast Woman. They're actually from Edmonton, and this was recorded in Seattle. An album for Gary at Physical Format Rock and Roll, and Richard McCook, ABBA's Greatest Hits. A band that I don't know anything about, but it's called I think the band is called Mad River, and the album is called Paradise Bar and Grill. I think they're a Bay Area band from, I think they recorded this around 1969 or 1970. It's on Capitol Records. Probably country folk. Haven't given any of these records a listen yet, so I will warn you. I've never seen this record before, and I don't really... I'm not familiar with it. This is Duke Baxter, and everybody knows Matilda. That was the hit song. It was a minor hit in 1969, and Duke Baxter is supposed to be an Australian, Ben Rankins, but there's some controversy about that. Maybe he didn't sing the title song. Maybe it was a Canadian. I just looked it up on Discogs, or not on Discogs. I Googled him on Wikipedia, and it is on VMC Records. I've never seen that label before. Distributed by Phonodisc. It's a Canadian pressing, like most of these are. Happy to have this on Sun Records. This is Original Memphis Rock and Roll Volume 1. Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Carl Mann, Roy Orbison, Charlie Rich. Again, Jerry Lee Lewis. So a lot of singles that were released on the Sun label. Happy to have that. Disco record, the SSO Orchestra featuring Douglas Lucas and the Sugar Sisters. Don't know anything about this, but obviously it's a disco album. Kentucky Woman's on here. Tonight's the Night's on here, so that'll be a treat, I'm sure. It's a record I've been looking for a long time, and this is a singer-songwriter named David Ackles. This is his first record released on Elektra, I think around 1969 or so. He only recorded 4 albums. He's a singer-songwriter. He plays piano. Great singer-songwriter. Looking forward to giving this one a listen. David Ackles. How about Argent? Really, really nice copy of Argent's Circus. This is after Russ Ballard left the band, but Rod Argent is still the mainstay in the band, of course, playing keyboards and singing. Listen to this. I streamed this the other night. Pretty good record. I'm going to say, what date? 1975. Still looking for the first Argent album. This record sold like 1 billion copies. This is Loggins and Messina, Full Sail. A lot of these records are not going to stay in my collection, but I will be using them as gifts or trading them in for some new stuff. Michael from Ricefield Records reminded me about this guy. This is Lee Michaels. Live, it's a double record set. Very nice condition. Sleeves are still intact. Interesting concept. Just him on keyboards and a guy called, and a drummer. Sorry, let me just look up his name and give him some credit. Keith Knudsen on drums. So this was live. Don't know where it was recorded. I think it was recorded at the Fillmore or something like that. Lee Michaels, great singer. He was really big for a while. He just sort of fell off the map. Sorry, records are falling over on me, folks. I'm not the biggest comedy record guy, but I got some. I have some Monty Python records here. Contractual Obligation. Monty Python Live at Drury Lane. Of course, maybe the most well-known one, Monty Python's previous record. And we used to listen to these records when, I guess in the late 60s, early 70s, you know, smoke some dope and listen to comedy records. I don't do that very much anymore. I find that I can only listen to a comedy record once. It's like watching a movie. You know how it ends. You don't have to watch it again. Excuse me, folks. I'm just going to rearrange these things here. Oh, my goodness. Okay. How about Chuck Berry in Memphis? Not on Chess. This is on Mercury Records, the original Mercury record. 1967. So a little past his greatest period of music, but nice to have this. He sings "Back to Memphis, Do I Really Love You." Does a copy of he does a cover of "Ramblin' Rose," sweet little rock and roller. Check Me Out, It Hurts Me Too. Good Night, Well, It's Time to Go. So Chuck Berry on Mercury Records. I've been on a Roy Wood kick lately. I picked up a couple of records in the last year or so. This is Roy Wood and his band Wizard. The album's called Wizard's Brew. I think this is from around 1970. It's a gatefold. Very quirky. Of course, Roy Wood from one of the founders of VLO. His band, The Move, is an excellent a band as well. How about Buddy Holly's Greatest Hits? I don't have any Buddy Holly, and I like those old rock and roll songs. There's Peggy Sue on here, Bo Diddley, Learning the Game, That'll Be the Day, Oh Boy, Brown Eyed Handsome Man, Maybe Baby. So, on Coral Records. Nice copy of Nashville Skyline. Of course, I already have that. That's a double. I'll be swapping that out if this copy is better than my copy. Really interesting album. This is a band called Savage Rose. They are a Danish psych rock band from 1960. I think this was released in 1969 or 1970. Don't know anything about them, but looking forward to giving this a listen as well. Already have a copy of this. I picked this up a little while ago. These records are just not cooperating. Here we go. A band called Badger. Band formed out of former Yes members. Who was Tony Kaye is on keyboards here. Of course, this is featuring Jackie Lomax. So this is less a prog record, more an R&B record. Jackie Lomax, of course, was signed to Apple Records. It's actually a pretty good record, but not if you're expecting a prog record. This is something totally different. And it was recorded in New Orleans by Alan Toussaint. So that kind of says it all right there. How about Free's first record? I've never had a copy of this. This is an original Canadian press. Fire and Water, Oh I Wept, Remember, Heavy Load, All Right Now. The long version is on here. Don't Say You Love Me and Mr. Big. So Free's first record. Happy to have that. I think this is one of the few jazz records in the collection, and this is Piano Giants Volume 1. This is a comp with Duke Ellington, Earl Hines, Art Tatum, Errol Garner, Thelonious Monk, Bud Powell, George Shearing, Horace Silver, Oscar Peterson, Red Garland, Bill Evans, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Joe Zawinul, Keith Jarrett, and McCoy Tyner. So double record on Prestige. It still has the booklet. If I can, still has a booklet in there. Come on, there we go. Nice little write-up on all the artists there on Prestige. These comps are well worth picking up, and they're usually very, very cheap in the bins. Soundtrack to a movie that I've never seen. It's a late 60s or early 70s movie, Dusty and Sweets McGee. Probably along the lines of Easy Rider, but we have Ride Captain Ride by Blues Image, Into the Mystic, Van Morrison, Duke of Earl, Gene Chandler, Book of Love by the Monotones, Locomotion by Little Eva, Don't Leave Me Baby by Harry Nilsson, and the rest I am not familiar with, but I don't collect soundtracks, but if I get one for 60 cents, I'll probably keep this one just because there's some great tunes on there. And it's on Warner Brothers. Got some Simon and Garfunkel records. Sounds of Silence. These first two are pretty beat up. They'll probably be going to the charity shop. Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. I have both of those records already. But I do not have this one, and it's probably one of their best records. Bookends. Of course, it's got Save the Life of My Child, America, Faking It, Mrs. Robinson's on here, and At the Zoo. So little blurb says it's got a special bonus full color poster included. Not included, but in great shape. The band that I was not familiar with, but I read up on them, and this is a band called Appaloosa. They are on CBS Records. The story of this band is they went into Al Kooper's office. Al Kooper used to, of Blood, Sweat, and Tears fame, a very, very famous producer. He went in his office, they played him the tapes. He liked the tapes, but he was too busy with other projects, so he told them that he was going to take a flyer on it. And later on, as he was leaving the office, he found these guys playing their songs to his office staff, his secretaries, and his staff, and they were enthralled. So he sat down and gave them a listen and decided to record them. This guy here, I think he was only 16. He's the main songwriter. His name is, just a second here, Tony Ackerman? Just give me a second here. A 19-year-old rustic named John Parker Compton. This is supposed to be a great album. They only recorded 2 records, and then Compton went on to a solo career. So, Appaloosa. It's a prog band from New York, Ars Nova. Again, another band that I don't know anything about, but they were signed to Elektra. They're from New York. They're basically a prog classical band. They were being touted by Elektra Records as the next big thing. They were signed after the Doors, and they were looking for another band to be as big as the Doors. Of course, it wasn't to be Ars Nova. They only recorded 2 records before breaking up, and I think they broke up after a show at the Fillmore East. Ars Nova on Elektra Records. I am a John Sebastian fan. I think Mazzy showed this 3 or 4 months ago. This is Cheapo Cheaper Productions presents Real Live John Sebastian. It's just him and a guitar on stage. Of course, that's I think that's the picture of him on stage at Woodstock. This is not the best John Sebastian record to get. Albums like this, John Sebastian, The Four of Us, are things you should be looking for. This is on Reprise Records. I wonder if this is on the brown label. I thought it was on the tricolored label, but this is, I think, about his third record. So it's a gatefold. Lyrics in great condition. John Sebastian, really happy to have this. I'm a Fred Neil fan as well. I already have a copy of this. Fred Neil records are really hard to find. This is his first record, I think. Fred Neil is from Florida. He was a bit of a legend in the LA community. This is Everybody's Talking, theme from Midnight Cowboy. Of course, he does his own rendition of Everybody's Talking, but his great song that opens up on side one is The Dolphins. Great singer, great songwriter. Very little appreciated in the VC, I think. Doesn't get mentioned very much. And one of his first, that Everybody Talking was not his first record. I think this was his first record. This is Fred Neil. Bleecker and McDougal. So he was a folk singer who got started in all those clubs that Bob Dylan and Dave Van Ronk got started in. I've never seen this out in the wild before. Happy to have it, especially for 60 cents. It's on that early Electro label. Great finding that. This might be the find of the collection. To me, anyways, I never thought I'd find a copy of this out in the wild, and if I did, I never thought I was going to get it for 60 cents, but this is the Meters Struttin'. Just recently re-released for big bucks, but produced by Alan Toussaint, recorded in New Orleans, of course. Great soul and funk, the Meters. Fantastic find. I don't have any Jimmy Buffett albums, but I do have this one now. Unfortunately, it's called You Had to Be There. It's recorded live. It's a double album, except that I do not have a double album. There is only one record in there, so too bad. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. Probably give it away to a charity shop. How about some Yardbirds favorites, featuring material from Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page. These are mostly B-sides. I've never seen this out in the wild. I don't think I've ever seen anybody show it. It is on Epic Records. The Yardbirds. Yardbird favorites. Fantastic. An album that everybody is familiar with, Led Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor. Probably everybody's least favorite Led Zeppelin record, maybe Coda. Coda's not really a Led Zeppelin record, seeing that it was released after John Bonham died. But I'm going to give this a re-listen. I placed it last in my rankings of Led Zeppelin records in Steve All the World's a Stage thread. So there we go, Led Zeppelin. Album that gets showed a lot, Moody Blues, Seventh Sojourn. I already have a copy of this, so this will be a gift or a trade-in. Flo and Eddie. Mark Volman as Flo and Howard Kalin as Eddie. They used to be the Turtles. They've recorded with the Mothers of Invention and the Fillmore East album, the Live at the Fillmore. Flo and Eddie and Afterglow and other. I don't recognize any of the songs on here, but they used to get played on FM radio all the time. This is another goodie, the Jimmy Castor Bunch, some soul and funk, and the album is called It's Just Begun. You don't see these out in the wild very often, do you? Jimmy Castor Bunch, very, very nice, clean condition. Some K-Tel, Jukebox Jive, 25 original hits, so nice album cover. I'll probably keep this. Richie Havens is on here. Bobby Fuller 4. The Tokens, Mitch Ryder, Del Shannon, Paul Anka, Diana. Oh my God, you can't live without that. Joe the Heartbeats, Little Anthony and the Imperials, Frankie Lyman, Ronnie Hawkins, Mary Lou, and Lou Christie, Two Faces Have I. So K-Tel, the stuff that you used to buy on off the television. Company from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Another comedy album, George Carlin, Toledo. You know, Mr. Potty Mouth himself. Very funny guy, though. That one will be traded in probably because I don't collect comedy records. How about Spirit's first album? Very nice condition. On Ode Records, that was distributed by Columbia. 1960, I'm going to say 1968 or so, 1969 maybe, Spirit's first record. Taurus is on here, and that is the song that they brought Led Zeppelin to court over. He's claiming that Jimmy Page took the opening riff from the song Taurus. But this is their first record, and Randy California was only 16 when he recorded this. He was the guitar player. So Spirit, great to have that. A little surprise for everybody. Tiny Tim. God bless Tiny Tim. What's interesting about this? Oh, produced by Richard Perry. Tiny Tim is a bit of a joke now, but actually he was a very, very well-regarded musicologist. He did Tiptoe Through the Tulips, of course. He got married on Johnny Carson, and a very, very interesting person indeed. Tiny Tim, on reprise. Jesse Colin Young's first band, the Youngbloods. I think these are all live cuts. I'm a big Jesse Colin Young fan. I've already got this, so this will be a gift, or I'll trade it in. Some Jethro Tull, nice copy of Benefit. Everybody knows that record. Jethro Tull, A Passion Play. Again, gets shown on the VC all the time, but a nice copy. It's punched, but still a good copy. Soundtrack to Midnight Cowboy. Of course, Everybody's Talking is by Harry Nilsson is on this. It was a big hit for Harry. And musical supervision by John Barry. So, yeah, great movie. They don't make movies like this anymore. Midnight Cowboy. This is a little bit of a gem. Arkansas's own Ronnie Hawkins, who made a name for himself on the Strip on Yonge Street. Of course, he had very, very many famous members in his band. He brought them up. Of course, I'm talking about the band. They backed him up for a long time. He claims he taught them the ropes, but I think Robbie Robertson begs to differ on that one. But great to have this, and it's on Hawk Records, so he had his own record label for a while. One More Night, Bob Dylan, Bitter Green, Gordon Lightfoot. He does Matchbox on here. Little Bird by Jerry Jeff Walker. One Too Many Mornings, 40 Days by Chuck Berry. Down in the Alley by Solomon Burke. So some really solid songs on this. And again, I don't know what this, I haven't checked it out on Discogs, but you don't see this around very much. And it is still in the shrink, and it's in great condition. So Ronnie Hawkins, self-titled record. Another great band from the Bay Area, Hot Tuna. Jack Cassidy and Jorma Kokoken, of course, from the Jefferson Airplane, went out on their own as Hot Tuna. This is a nice acoustic blues album, and it is, it is just self-titled. I think this is their first release. So nice copy of Hot Tuna. I've already got the copy of this, but this one might be a nicer copy. Coming down to the end here, maybe some of the best records that were in this crate. Everybody knows this record, of course, but this is a Canadian press, and it is mono, and it is in fairly good condition, the record itself. It doesn't have any of the inserts, but this will be going in my Beatles collection for sure. Don't run across a mono copy of this very often. Another Beatles record, Hard Day's Night. Again, an original Canadian pressing, I think first press, and mono copy as well. So this is great. Uh, half songs by the Beatles, and the other half are the instrumentations by George Martin. Hard Day's Night. And last but not least, a British copy of Revolver. Unfortunately, it does not have the original sleeve in it. I haven't done any research on this, so I don't know what pressing it is, what it's worth. Of course, it just needs to be glued. Does not have a fold over. It does not have the fold over back. So this is probably a much later pressing, but nice to have an import of this. I was looking for this for years, and I just finally gave up because they're priced so high. I ended up buying a reissue, which on 180 grams. Love this record. Don't know if it's their best, but it's certainly it's up there in the top 3. So nice British copy of Revolver. So there you have it, guys. Part 3. Still got lots more records to show. I am not going to show them in the next couple of videos, but I'll get back to part 4 in about 4 or 5 shows. So if you're still with me, thank you so much for watching. If you're a new viewer, thanks for watching again. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. Please leave a comment below, give me a like, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.